Hi everyone, welcome back to ASN Dad Chat. I'm Andy, I'm here with Sam.
Hello,
we
everyone.
are a podcast and a community dedicated to making sure no ASN dad in Scotland has to walk this path alone. As before, our goal is simple: real talk, real honesty, and sharing our own experiences to help you navigate the system. Whether you're in our meetup groups already, just finding this now, there's always a seat at the table for you. Again, just a reminder, we're not the experts, we're just dads who've had these experiences ourselves. It's all lived, and it's just opinion, not medical or legal advice. Now let's get stuck into today's chat.
Perfect. I'll kick things off. I'll ask you how your week's been.
Oh, to be fair, this has been a bit of a hectic week for us. So we have had huge problems with our flooring in the house, and that it's just kept popping up.
Oh no.
Which has meant we've had to get it all ripped up and get the floor screeded. Now, as part of that, it's meant that we'd have to get out of the house. So we had to essentially book a hotel to take Ashton out. So this was a whole military operation from the Tuesday into the Wednesday. But essentially, pack all the bags, get all these toys, as you know, get his specific plate that he'll eat off, get all these foods that he'll eat. There was about 4 or 5 bags for one night in a hotel. The plan was simple: he'd go to school, he'd go to his after school, and then we'd take him to a soft play after that. So we would get back to the hotel at 8 o'clock, bed, hope that he sleeps through. And when I say sleep through, you're talking about 4 o'clock in the morning on a good day. But on that, then back to school again, the same sort of thing, and then back in the house by Wednesday.
That way it's not too much of a change to his routine.
Exactly, perfect plan, and everything's all good as you'd expect until he gets sent home at 10 o'clock on the Tuesday morning. Meaning can't go back to the house. Was he all right? Or I mean, when he came, he just had a bit of a cough, but it was just that way of he's sent home. We've had to leave work. Had to try to get early check into the hotel, and then from then you're stuck in the room till check out the following day at 12 o'clock, so we couldn't get back in the house till 7 o'clock at night. So it was trying to go from pillar to post to try and keep him occupied. Just that way of everything was so well planned.
It throws it all
exactly
into the woodwork, doesn't it?
So yeah, I mean, we're back in the house now, thankfully. But yeah, it's just that way of everything was so perfectly planned. I had no idea that there would be any sort of issues, but of course, just the way that these lives that we live are, everything had to get thrown into chaos, which is why you just feel like you've got so much life experience by this point because of the amount of stuff that you've had to go through. But I mean, other than that, yeah, there's not been too much happening. That's been the main thing so far. What about yourself? How's your week been?
Just quickly touching on what you were saying there, I think it proves that no matter how much you plan, there is always room for something you don't expect.
Exactly, we should always expect that now, to
and
be honest with
you know, when it comes to children with additional support needs, you know, you have to plan literally everything. I know you were saying there you were planning, you know, what he was going to eat, what he was going to wear.
Yep.
Everything, you have to almost, you know, every schedule. And I know it sounds tedious, but if you keep his activities the same, like you were saying, you know, going to school, going to after school, taking them to a soft play, exactly, it keeps that routine, and it's something that, you know, routines are going to be something that we're going to speak about for sure.
Yeah.
So my week, let me think. It's been very much my stepdaughter. She has been off school from Monday to Wednesday. She was getting a sleep study done.
Okay.
So basically 22 different points had different wires, all kind of connected with a a kind of braid over the top of her hair.
Okay.
And we had a camera that honestly it looked like it was contained in something from Men in Black. It was like this big storage box, but it was basically to monitor her sleeping.
And is that something you got to bring home with you, or did you have to go into hospital?
Yes. So we had to set it up when she was going to sleep. We had to put it away and then take it with us back up to the hospital each day.
Okay.
So basically we were doing that just at the moment. My stepdaughter, she has, well, we don't know fully, but we think that she has night terrors.
Okay.
A lot of the time she really struggles. She can wake up and, you know, be absolutely inconsolable about something, or, you know, and it'll be something so small that you don't think in your head is worth crying over.
Yeah.
But it'll be something that upsets her and it takes her a wee while to settle back. But half the time she doesn't remember it because
Right,
she's not
okay.
actually awake.
So it's quite difficult to pinpoint.
Yeah,
the
and she
issue.
doesn't have any recollection of it.
Yeah, I mean, how
So-
did she deal with the whole having that on her head the full time and
I think
everything?
it was definitely irritating. She doesn't like anything really touching her hair. But I made a deal with her that we were out shopping in Buryhead, and my partner, she was grabbing a few like extra clothes or whatever, and I made a deal with her that, because she turned around to me and she was like, I feel ridiculous. And I was like, why do you feel ridiculous? And she was like, I'm wearing this thing on my head, people are going to start looking at me, people are going to think I'm silly.
Yeah.
And bearing, she's 6 years old, and I'm like, the anxiety she has at this age is unbelievable. But I remember I turned around to her and I was like, right, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I was like, you can find something in this shop that's in my size, which, you know, I'm a big guy, so I'm like, it's very, very few. But I'm like, if you find something in my size, no matter what it is, I'll put it on and I'll wear it for the 3 days while you're wearing a cap.
Nice.
Because I'm very much, you know, you do you. That's
Yeah.
the type of person I am. So she found a Hello Kitty top that said, was it too sweet, too cute? You know, so I wore that for the last 3 days, to appease her, so that she kind of focused on that rather than focusing on
Yeah.
what she had on her head. You know,
Good.
I think a lot of the time for her, it's giving her something visual
Something
to
to
distract her
focus
from
on,
what's
yeah.
going on
Uh-huh.
is really useful. So we done that. She done her sleep study, but so my partner, she has MS.
Okay.
And I think they're just trying to make sure that the night terrors are not
Aren't
caused.
related to that or
It's like
anything,
a certain type of epilepsy.
Okay.
So they were trying to monitor the brain signals to make sure all of these types of things were happening. So we will wait. It'll probably be weeks or months before we actually get the results back. But we've done a sleep test for her. But that basically threw everything out the window for the week.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Basically, they turned around and they were like, listen, you're going to need to come up at 11 o'clock every day. So she was missing school, so it was a bit of a nightmare because
Yeah.
she loves school and she loves a routine. So it was a bit of a spanner in the works. And I was at home. I had to, take the boys up with us. So I would be then trying to take them to keep them occupied. And then the park up at the hospital is all gated off.
Oh, is it?
So it's
I was
closed
gonna
right
say,
now.
It's quite a good park as well.
Which I'm not going to lie, threw my plan completely out the window because, I was like, well, one of them's in a pram. And then my oldest, he loves to go in swings. And I was like, he'll go in the swings for hours.
Yep.
And whenever they come out, they'll come and meet us.
Yep.
We'll go in the car. But the thing was locked. So started having a meltdown. So it was a bit stressful, but I'm glad that it got done.
Yeah.
Apart from that, keeping the house in order. We've got 3 children. We've got 2 dogs at home. One dog sheds like crazy, so that's always fun. We need to constantly hoover.
Always on it.
So we've got a 7-month. So he's 7 months, and he's a German Shepherd, Alaskan Malamute cross.
Right.
And then we've got a 4-year-old cockapoo, and she's tiny, absolutely tiny.
Do they have names?
Yes. So we've got the 7-month-old. He's called Whiskey, and the 4-year-old, she's called Bailey. Now, we don't drink, but we've named them after drinks. No idea why.
Nice.
I think it's because of how they look. So Bailey, she's like a cream coat.
Okay.
So my partner likes the Baileys.
Right.
So she turned around and she was like, that's Bailey. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. And then I seen Whiskey when he was tiny, and he was just this splitting image. And I was like, oh, well, if we've got Bailey, that's Whiskey.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
I was either that or Jack Daniels, but I was like, that doesn't really fit.
I think Bailey and Whiskey goes pretty well, to be fair. And then I guess the other thing to ask is, so what's happening to the Hello Kitty top now? Is
I've
that
still
in the
got
bin,
it.
or is that going to get broken out again?
It's currently in the washing. My partner has put dibs on it, and she'll probably wear it as a nightie.
There you go.
That's the good thing about, so with the size that I'm at the moment, I'm in like kind of 2XL clothing. But if I am moving down a size, my partner takes the tops and
Collects
uses them as a nightie.
There you go.
And I'm like, well, recycling.
Very sustainable and everything there as well, no?
Yeah, so she's already league claim on it. However, she will probably have to fight me to the death for it.
There you go. It's obviously a connection to that top.
Oh, of course.
See, that's that process in terms of the, I don't know what it's called, the kind of head mapping thing. So Ashton's actually looking to get that done as well, because we've been looking at the potential that he might have. So one of the things with Fragile X syndrome is a potential of epilepsy as well. So seizures and sorts. So and we've noticed sometimes that he has. It's kind of hard to tell whether it's kind of absence seizures or if it's nothing. So we have mentioned it to them. They said we'll need to do the same sort of thing. But
I was going to say, I'm assuming there's no kind of visible symptoms of epilepsy.
Sometimes he'll have as if he'll just be staring and he'll kind of shudder a wee bit as if he's like got a chill. But
got you.
Then
he like
it's so hard
zones
to
out
tell.
almost.
Yeah, so it's almost hard to tell whether he is just hyperfixated on something.
Yeah.
So they've said, do the same thing, bring him in, do that. But if I'm honest, I feel like Ashton will keep it in his head for 5 minutes. Like it's the same thing. Ashton doesn't like anything on him, that sort of stuff. I'll have to give it a try though and see. But yeah, it's something that's on the list.
I know something that we've done with our stepdaughter. We got like kind of tape.
Okay.
Because she thrashes about sometimes at night, and her cap was coming off.
Yeah.
So we did put tape around. He would probably pull the tape off, but it's certainly a suggestion.
Yeah. I mean, all we can do is try. To be fair,
yeah.
I mean, it's one of these things where I don't even think he'll have it on leaving the hospital. But we need to try these things. Obviously, if it does.
It's either that, or they might need to admit him for a few days, and then
even then, I mean, Ashton's been in the hospital plenty of times. I mean, he's just so sensitive to even things being on him. So again, another thing with Fragile X syndrome can be problems with hearing, and Ashton struggled with even the kind of basic hearing test. A lot of it, I don't know if your kids have went through them at all, where it's essentially they do the hearing test, but there's like two big columns with like different teddies in them, and it'll light up, and it's supposed to see like, will they look at the sound and sort of stuff, whereas Ashton just wasn't. He couldn't do it, so it was either he didn't hear or he just didn't have the attention for it. But either way, he couldn't do the test, so that failed.
Got you.
Even looking at putting something in his ear just to measure it, he wouldn't cope with it. So he wouldn't
Sensory wise,
that. Yeah, and the next step was we'll bring him in, we'll give him melatonin, and we'll try to do it when he's sleeping.
Yeah.
Tried that, fast asleep. As soon as they touch him, wake up. So he ended up having to go under general anaesthetic to get that done.
It's a nightmare, that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things where, I mean, his hearing turned out fine, but we managed to get, again, another issue that you can have. You can have problems with your heart with Fragile X syndrome, so we got him to do like an ECG and things when he was under. We got him to check, just have a look at his teeth, the kind of full MOT, because it's one of these things where no one wants their kid to go under adrenal anaesthetic if they can avoid it, but if he is going to have to do it, we'd rather you check things that he's going to struggle with.
Absolutely.
Going forward. And Ashton, being Ashton, had already had his tonsils and his adenoids taken out when he was younger.
Right.
And he happened to be the one person that his adenoids had grown back again.
Wow,
So
I didn't even know that was a thing. Wow, that's amazing.
Apparently it's a very small population, which turns out to be Ashton. So they had to clip them out again.
Wow, that's
apparently
crazy.
It shouldn't happen again now, but yeah, he's kind of used to the hospital environment, but it's quite difficult at first.
My youngest is like that. He was in for 4 weeks, and he had 3 different surgeries during that time. So anytime he sees a nurse with a blue jacket on, he cowers, and it's soul destroying, you know. But like you were saying about general anaesthetic, our oldest, he because of his pica, and we talked about that in the previous episode, but with his pica he was chewing on a lot of inedible things, like he was chewing on like his gate, floorboards, all of these types of things, so his teeth were worn down, but he can't sit still, so he had to be put under general anaesthetic, and he got 16 or 17 teeth taken out. But in that time he also got his nails clipped and stuff like that done, because he doesn't get that done. But they had to give him, because of his size, they had to actually give him a bit extra general anaesthetic, because they gave him the general anaesthetic. My partner turned around and went, "He's not out yet." And they were like, of course he's out. He then once he was in the theatre, he proceeded to alligator roll across, and they were like, what? And we were like, I told you.
The mum's the expert.
He's honestly, and it's one of those that you sit there and go, I'm actually impressed that more than just the standard general couldn't knock this child out.
Yeah.
You know, but it was a sin because he had to stay in hospital for 3 days, and like we were saying before, he's a flight risk, so my partner had to move the mattress off of the bed up against the door because he was getting out of the room, walking along to the nurse's station because the nurse's station had food, and they were feeding him toast at 4 o'clock in the morning. So
I think that's a difficult thing, and it's even highlighting like the fact that having to get his nails clipped and dentists, and I don't think people realise like basic things like that are so difficult. For kids with additional needs. Like,
they won't physically let you near them.
No way at all. I mean, Ashton goes to a kind of additional needs dentist now that he goes to,
right?
Which has been brilliant. So they have him in kind of every other month to see the kind of hygienist, so that he can get in and just get comfortable with even being in there. And they'll try to put like a toothbrush in his mouth and things. I mean, Ashton's quite good in terms of letting us brush his teeth, but in terms of him opening his mouth and saying for a dentist to have a look is a totally different thing. But for us,
it's like a trust almost.
It's getting him used to. He knows when he goes in here. He knows they kind of give him the kind of full rule of the place. He can go through the drawers. He can sit and things. And luckily for us, that there's different YouTube videos that he's watched with dentists, so he kind of tries to impersonate that sort of stuff. So
I know you were saying before, like Miss Rachel and stuff like that.
Yeah, Miss Rachel.
I'm sure she
Katie's
does some
Classroom,
dentist videos.
All these different things, anything at all, mainly all American, but he tries to copy and do exactly the same things. But
that's good.
I mean, some of them are good and some of them are just
the fact that there's like
idea.
ASN like dentists and hygienists out there, that's phenomenal. I know for us we have like the practice down in Dumbarton, and you know, we took my oldest, and it was very much a case of, listen, he's probably going to need to go to the dental hospital because he won't sit still, he won't sit in a chair, and it was very much listen, he needs all of his teeth taken out. I think it was bar his adult ones, but his adult ones were going to grow slightly out and up, so they were actually going to bypass his baby teeth. So they sorted that during the surgery and stuff like that. But again, like you were saying, it's so much planning for something people would consider so simple. And
it's every eventuality you need to think of. Like, if this happens, I need to have this here, I need to have that. And you
need to have your backup plans need backup plans. And I think that's something we were certainly talking about previously, was trying to switch off and trying not to be switched on all the time. And I know that's something I'm struggling with at the moment, is trying to switch off, because even when I'm out and about, I'll still like glance at my phone in case my partner's messaged me about something, or I'll be thinking in my head, what's my youngest up to right now, what's my oldest doing, because for whatever reason, when there's only one parent in, our children seem to ramp it up. They really seem to make you know that you're the only one in the house. It's one of those. But I know we were talking about kind of what we would discuss on this podcast today. So what are we thinking? What would you like to discuss? I think we could maybe talk about a bit about routines.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm just trying to think in terms of, what was I going to say? I was going to say something in terms of what you had said, and I've lost it.
We can come back to it.
I'll come back to it.
I'm touching on routines because without it, I don't think we would function in our house.
So I guess like, why don't you tell us what is your week like?
So I'd say for a day, at the moment our oldest is out of school. He's been out of school since June. He just wasn't safe in his old establishment. We're trying to get him into any ASN specific establishment. However, that process is still ongoing. So as such, a large section of his routine has been taken away. So we've had to try and combat that. We've been lucky enough to been given some funding for him to get annual passes at a local soft play.
Good.
And there's a local farm down where we stay that has like a big trampoline and like an adventure area.
Does he quite enjoy those?
He loves them. Good. He absolutely loves them. He loves the outdoors. He loves to play. He could play all day if he wanted to. You know, I think I said that if I ever won the lottery, the first thing I would do is find an abandoned warehouse and do it up as like a jungle gym for him. You know, but so for our when he wakes up in the morning, most of the time we try not to give him melatonin for the sole reason that his I'm trying to think of the word, tolerance.
Yeah.
His tolerance builds up really quickly, and it also has quite a negative impact on his mood.
Okay.
So he'll wake up very agitated. But if we have to, if he's really struggling for sleep, or he's been up for multiple days, you know, that's certainly something that we have to try and put in. But he'll wake up in the morning, and the first thing he'll ask me for is toast and spoon, which for him means cereal.
Ah, okay.
He likes cereal and toast. Half the time it's the exact same thing he wants.
Yep.
However, we normally get him to come into the kitchen, pick exactly what he wants, which is normally, at the moment, it's chocolate Weetabix with golden nuggets. Nice. So 2 cereals in one, and he also loves toast with Nutella.
So is he quite a good eater in terms of variety?
Not particularly, no. So he has, you know, certain foods that he loves. He loves packets of smoked sausage. He loves chicken dippers. He loves Alpha Bites. Any potato product he's a big fan of.
Okay.
Absolutely nuts on barbecue sauce. But he will not try new foods. If you present it to him, if you want to say, right, let's give it a try, he will just say no.
Does he pick up any of these extra foods in terms of more, which he's decided himself and taken it off of some, in terms of the things that you've listed there, and obviously you're saying he won't take new foods, is it more likely that as opposed to you offering him something that he would take it himself if it ever came to it?
Certainly something we try and do is now and again we'll put like an extra, like a new food on his plate, just to see if he's going to gauge it, because sometimes, you know, he does like black pudding as well, but that we get that now and again, but a lot of the time we'll leave it on the plate and kind of see what he does, because sometimes he'll take it and he'll put it kind of in his mouth and feel the texture. Something he's notorious for is McDonald's chips. McDonald's chips, he'll only eat the squishy ones. The crunchy ones he'll leave. So it's all about texture. So if he likes it, he'll kind of play with it and then he'll eat it. If not, he'll leave it and he'll pick it up and put it straight in the bin. He's very
clean that way.
Yeah, he's very efficient, you know, and it's one of those that we were like, we could have gave that to your brother and sister, but sure. You know, so for my oldest, it's all about food. That's his main routine at the moment. So we get him breakfast. We then he likes to spend a wee bit of time on his tablet. We kind of soft start him in the morning because he's a wee bit all over the place. Then we get him lunch, and then when his brother and sister are out, we normally try and either take him, or if his brother's at home, he only goes to nursery 2 or 3 times a week. We take them out to like a soft play, and then we come home and pick up our daughter from school. So
that's very much part of the routine.
Pretty much. We go shopping. We go up to Clydebank. We go to Braehead. It can be Dumbarton. That's the kind of area we're from. But for our oldest, it's all about verbalising what we're going to do next. Because a lot of the time he'll repeat what you've said to make sure that's 100% what we're doing. So if we turn around and go, right, we're going shopping and then we're going to go jump, in his mind that means, right, shopping, half the time it means one shop to him, one shop, then I'm going to go and jump and I'm going to go and have fun. If we throw anything else into that, that's when misunderstandings occur. That's when he starts to get a bit frustrated, you know. So that's something that we're working on, is we're getting a visual timetable put in where we can put up a picture of all the shops we're going to, and then we're going to take a picture of the soft play, and that's where he's going to go to.
Now and next thing.
Now
we're going to do this, next that. And
absolutely.
That's something that we use with Ashton a lot of the time, and he struggles in terms of, like, if I was to say, okay, you're going to go to school and then you're going to go to soft play, he doesn't understand the next part. Well, he's like, no, I'm going to school. So he's kind of, or like if we try to add extra things on top of that, being like, okay, like we're going to go to soft play, before that you need to get dinner. It kind of struggles in terms of,
because it can dysregulate them completely.
Just in terms of timelines. It's almost like if you say one thing I mean, sometimes you can get it, but a lot of the time it can be a case of like no, like I don't want to go to that next thing, or if I'll be like going to go to bed and then shower, you'll be like, oh no, like that sort of thing. So it's trying to build that up, and it's the same as you, that whole now and next, and the visuals are great. We try to do some visuals. We've just bought him a new kind of calendar. We're trying to get that all set up for him, but a lot of the time he just kind of likes it kind of verbally, but a lot of the time it does have to be just kind of what's coming up and like now and next, as opposed to anything above that.
It can be difficult. You know, I think we had a kind of cartoony visual timetable, but when we spoke to one of his social workers, and they turned around and went, perhaps he has he doesn't have a social imagination. So very much, you know, we can show him a picture and he's got no clue what that means. Yeah. So we've started to do pictures of real things, and we're hoping that association helps.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of the pictures, like, we have it the other way sometimes, where like I remember we would take Ashton to, it could be like a farm park or something, I'd be like, oh, there's the pig, there's the horses, the goat, and then you're like, why is he not getting in? And then obviously, like, in terms of that whole kind of autistic brain, a lot of the time you're like, everything that you look at would be like, a pig is pink. That sort of thing. You take it at a park and it's like brown and black, and that's not a pig. Like, it's that sort of thing. Like, a lot of these pictures, while they're great,
it's the association in their heads.
Because we did that for a while, like in terms of different foods. So I'd take a picture of like 5 or 6 different dinners so that you could try and choose. Because I think we said before about how a lot of the frustration, it seems, from our kids comes from that whole communication barrier, where they can't get across what they want. So it's trying to make it as easy as possible for them to show what it is that they're wanting. We did the same for TV, whether it was different things like this, Rachel, Paw Patrol, all these different options, and trying to make it easier for them. So, and
I think you've hit the nail on the head, in the sense that we have to be the ones to adapt that, because there's no point in us turning around and going, no, that's not what this means, because all that's going to do is confuse them, irritate them, and then we're back to square one. Whereas we've talked a lot about how we have to adapt our approaches. And you know, I think certainly since I've known my oldest, you know, I met him when he was 4. He's now 9, so 5 years. So much has changed in his routine. You know,
you constantly adapt.
You know, he used to go to school 5 days a week. You know, he was arguably, there's times where he was busier, there's times where he's not been that busy. You know, and any kind of spontaneity, I believe that's the word, that really throws him. You know, because he doesn't really know what to do with himself.
I think it's that unknown that they don't really get, and
I think he expects, you know, to have a plan for every minute of the day, and it's not always possible, but you have to kind of try and fit things in as much as you can.
It can be that anxiety as well. So if you think about it in terms of like, even like as an adult, if you get told like you're going to go to this new place, you have no idea where you're going, what it's going to be like, but we're going there, you would automatically be like, a bit anxious about it. 100%. So that's totally ramped up for a lot of these kids.
Any brand new thing in my routine, I'm like, I don't like it.
Exactly.
No.
You're looking at
you haven't gave me notice.
You go to a new restaurant, I'll find myself looking at the menu beforehand so I can choose and everything like that. So you think about the kids as well, like it is just different. Like, whereas if as soon as they know magnified, something, they build in there. Like, you say that word, they're like, okay, I know that has this thing. We find, I remember when Ashton was younger, we would take him to maybe a friend's house or something, and the difference would be massively if you took him to a friend that had kids as opposed to didn't. It wasn't a case of him playing with the kids, but if he went into someone's house and recognised a toy, it totally settled him in terms of like, okay, I understand this toy, it's here. Whereas if you take him to a house that's got no toys and he's got nothing,
he's just sitting there,
it's just nothing, he's like, why am I here, don't want to be here, sort of things. And it's these sort of learning points that you pick up over time, which and it's like that saying before, you pretty much need like a degree in your own kid to
and I think actually something that I was thinking about when we were talking about this, you obviously mentioned that when you have a diagnosis, it is almost like, you know, you almost have to have a degree, and it is similar in a degree where, I mean, you know, you have that diagnosis, but at the end of the day, it's a sheet of paper. You know, and
still your kid,
still your child. Nothing changes in that, and that's certainly something that I feel that when people get that diagnosis, like you said, you go through the stages where you're like, what does this mean?
Yep.
You know, and I know certainly from my perspective, you overthink things where you sit there and go, and I done it, you know, when I first learned about my stepson, his diagnosis, I instantly went to, what if I need to be looking after him up until I'm an old guy?
Yep.
What if, you know, he's not going to live anywhere else? What if he can't go out and do, you know, what if he doesn't go to, you know, graduate somewhere? What if he doesn't marry? What if all of these types of things? And you can just spiral off on that, you know, and I think you sit there and you have to turn around and go, right, I need to take things a step at a time.
Yep. You need to reset the expectations.
Yes.
And it's that way of like, you can't just do it once. It's different because they'll develop, they'll regress sometimes as is, but you need to constantly just keep changing. And I know I keep going on about podcasts and learning and all these research, but I find like the thing you learn the most from is from them. Like they're the ones that show you the kind of the way, and essentially like it's adapting to what they do and making things easier, and you kind of get that, you go through and get that balance of, okay, I understand what you're wanting, I understand, like, and it's just rewiring your own brain to be like, oh, and it's just what you said as well about, oh no, if you're not getting dessert until you finish your dinner, that sort of thing. It's rewiring, like, okay, like it's a totally different rule book here.
It's like the way I've had to re-educate myself is unreal. Like, and something I remember my partner done, and it still cracks me up to this day thinking about it, is, you know, we were eating, and I always go, if I'm out and about, if we're going to a restaurant, it's a starter, then a main, then a dessert. It's like the natural flow. Yeah. And I remember she ordered a dessert first, and then a main course, and then a starter, and I just looked at her like she was an alien.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what in the world are we doing?
Yeah, it was good.
You know, I was like, starter, main, dessert, that's the natural flow. And she was like, says who? And I was like, do you know, she's absolutely spot on.
It's all these things you question, you're like, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be, but why?
Yeah,
like,
and I feel like my whole upbringing, I was like hardwired to think that, you know. And I say this all the time, is especially with being a lot more, you know, educated through podcasts, through, you know, YouTube, through lots of different things. You know, we were talking about it earlier, if we heard a screaming child in a shop, you know, before all of this, I'd have thought, oh, it's just a kid not getting his way. Whereas now I'm a lot more, right, what if that child's not comfortable in this environment? Yeah,
you're a lot more sympathetic, isn't it? You just, you automatically think,
it like reworks how you
struggling,
think.
You think about the parents, you don't automatically think, as you said, like, what is this kid doing? Like, they need to behave, where are the parents? You realise, like, this could be a child really struggling, like, that could be our child, it could be that, and it's
for sure.
It just totally switches your mindset and almost kind of opens your eyes to this whole other world that's out there. It's huge, how big a change it is, and as I say, as you just shift that you're not the most important person, it's your kids sort of thing. Everything has to be focused around them, like in terms of if we were ever going to anywhere, it'd be like, which restaurant we're going to go to, okay, we're going to go here, they have to adapt to it. Now it's like, no, which restaurants can he cope in,
yes,
that's where we're going,
absolutely.
Like,
do you know, half the time it'll be, you know, which restaurant is okay with him having a takeaway.
Yep.
Whilst we eat in there. You know, I know, what was it, we went to, was it TGI Fridays?
Okay.
It's a place that me and my partner absolutely love, but the chips in there are not like the chips in McDonald's, so our oldest wouldn't touch them. So we would have to, one of us went out and got him a nugget meal from McDonald's.
Yep. And
brought it in and was like, listen, we are sitting down, we are eating, however he won't do it, he won't touch them. And thankfully the manager at the time was like, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and that makes
because at the manager's discretion, they could easily turn around and went no.
Yeah.
But, you know, and it's one of those that we talk about trying to introduce things into our life to, you know, include our children more and more. And I think that certainly, I sat there and I was like, that's a good start. You know, obviously talking about I've talked about our oldest routine. What about Ashton's routine?
Yes, I mean, Ashton's very much so, when we get him kind of downstairs in the morning, it's very much so. Ashton's very motivated by food. He's wanting to eat a lot, and it's something we kind of find difficult in the house, and it's that way where it's that sensory aspect as well. So he can get to the point where he'll eat so much, but then he'll just start spitting it out. But it's as if he just wants to chew on it and then spit it out. But he doesn't have the same way as your oldest. He doesn't have pica. It's
more like an oral sensitivity.
Yeah, it's more like an oral sensitivity in that way, that he just wants to chew on things he prefers. He loves apples, plums, nectarines. He loves his crisps. He's not someone that's massively into chocolate and sweets, but his eating is it's a difficult one to kind of get our head around at first. So in terms of the house, he is very sensitive to different smells and textures and things. So he used to have toast every morning, totally fine. Whereas if we bring toast out now, he'll just be sick. As soon as he sees it, he'll be sick. So, and it's things like that. We'll have certain dinners, if we pull them out, if he sees it, he'll be sick.
Right.
But it's that way where he's not unwell or anything. He's just so very sensitive to different smells. And on that, I remember my wife had a Lush box set full of bath bombs. Ashton goes in, opens the box. As soon as he sees it, just spews everywhere. Because you can imagine how strong those smells are when it comes in his bath bomb. But I mean, now in terms of Ashton quite likes like a croissant or a thing of cereal in the morning. Dry cereal can't be with milk, because Ashton eats everything with his hands. We still haven't managed to fix him the whole knife.
It's
and
like a fixation thing.
Yeah. So even if I give him something on a fork, he'll still want to just use the other hand, take it off the fork and eat it with it. So putting something in milk just wouldn't make sense for him, because it'd
be like kind of shade to him.
Exactly. So that's his kind of standard breakfast. In terms of school, he won't really eat meals at many other places other than the house. Right. So at school, he just has to have a snack bag with him.
Okay.
Full of his usual snacks. He'll eat that. And as soon as he comes home, we need to pretty much have his dinner on the table waiting on him on a specific red plate.
Oh, okay.
We've tried to buy exactly the same red plate, but if we use that, he looks at it and just kind of pushes it away, because he just knows, because that's
phenomenal.
The specific scratches on the other plate, he knows, no, this is the plate. So if we used to have a big pile of lots of different plates, so now there's 2 red plates that he'll have, and then like 3 specific bowls, not matching or anything, but those are the ones that he'll use. You try to give another one, he wouldn't touch it. But in terms of the house,
you need to use,
that's the thing. Like in terms of the house, he'll eat curry, pasta, lots of different things. But if I took him to another house, like say it was my sister's house or something, and gave him exactly the same thing, wouldn't touch it, he'd push it away.
Right.
Another example of that is like
out with his like realm of comfortability.
It's just, I don't really understand why. So he's very environmentally affected.
I get that.
Certain things he'll do in the house he won't do elsewhere. So he's a lot more quiet out and about. He's a lot more chatty in the house. But things like, if we get him McDonald's, he'll eat it in McDonald's or in the car. If we then move it into the house, he will not touch it.
Right. Okay.
If the same thing, if we take it to someone else's house or anything, he won't touch it. Only in the car and only in the McDonald's. Same with KFC.
Like a very situational thing.
Yeah. So it's really strange in that
I find that absolutely fascinating.
And again, you just wonder kind of what's going on in the head. That's the thing. It's that way of like, Ashton's a good eater. He also overeats. Then he won't eat meals elsewhere. He is getting better in terms of restaurants, because he's recently figured out that he likes chips, which is a massive win, because it's something you can get anywhere.
Oh yeah.
So that sort of stuff's good. But Ashton loves school. He gets picked up by his bus in the morning, goes in, come home, he'll have his dinner, and then usually we'll need to take him out somewhere, pretty much most nights of the week, whether that's a soft play or a trampoline park, or if he's got a club on. It's quite difficult to keep him in the house because he has so much energy he just wants to use up. So it's always go to a trampoline park or go to a soft play or something to keep him occupied. Is our sort of time, and it takes a while to get Ashton to go to bed, because his mind is so busy with repeating different things. It's that old mimic, and he can sometimes get stuck in a loop in terms of just the same thing over and over and over. And that's where we got the melatonin to help, just to kind of get.
Is it fast release or slow release he's on?
So it's a liquid, so it's just the fast release, because I believe that the only way you can get the slow release if they'll take the tablet form, because there's like a coating around the tablet. Again, not medical advice, but I think the liquid, from what I've heard, is fast acting, because it just gets it straight away, whereas if they take the tablet, it's the thickness of the coating that basically slowly releases through the night, whereas Ashton will not take tablets.
I was going to say, like we have to, for our oldest, we have to get a yogurt pot. We put I believe it's two fast release or 2 slow release in one capsule of the other. and then we mix it around, and what we have to do is we almost need to like speed feed this kid so that he doesn't have time
doesn't
to
understand what's in it.
So yeah, because he just swallows it.
Yeah.
You know, and something with our oldest is he's just never full. You know, we got him tested for, I believe it's Pride of Willie. Yeah, we got him tested for that. So I'm shocked it came back negative, but
so do you think his is like almost like a sensory thing as well?
I
that
think
routine
so.
Of like just wanting to just.
But he just, I don't think he has that. Like, he will eat and he'll eat and he'll eat till he throws up, but he doesn't have that sensation of I'm full.
Yeah.
You know, he will eat. Like he eats. He's quite flexible with some of the things he eats, but he's very systematic with how he is. He can eat virtually anywhere, and he will eat anything near enough. So I know something. When he was at his school, he would have like 4 bowls of sweet corn. So as you can imagine, as you can imagine, though, when it came time for him, it was basically like a stack of corn coming out.
Surprises there.
Yeah. So, and it was always, you know, sitting there going, how much corn does this kid eat? You know, he's keeping them in business. But it's honestly. So what was it? Our oldest, he was eating his. So we would make him a packed lunch. He would have a packed lunch, a school lunch, leftovers from the school lunch. And then we actually found out that he was stealing some of his classmates' sweets as well. And I was like, oh my god! And this is him having breakfast in the morning, dinner, and then snacks at night. You know, and he was consuming more calories than me and my partner combined.
But is that what you're saying? He's so active.
He's so active though. He burns it completely off, and it's insane. You know, because I look at him and he's just an absolute specimen.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's weighing in at about 60 kilograms right now.
Okay.
So if you think about that, you know, he's a big boy. You know, and he's about 5 foot tall. On me. You know, and he'll climb on my shoulders and lift them up, and you know, God knows what that's doing for my back.
Ashton's the same. He just thinks they're still like a baby sort of thing.
Yeah.
All over you.
Yeah. And I'm like, honestly, I think this weight loss journey that I'm on is solely so that I can keep playing with him. Because he's such a big boy. But I'm like, he's going to be able to tell me what the weather is soon. Because he's going to be massive. But like you were saying, that's real. Like, and I didn't know a lot of things about Ashton, like you were saying there about his routine. So I find that fascinating, you know. And I think, like, you'd probably agree, like, without a routine, that's when, you know, you were saying before, the fight or flight response kicks in. You know, I know for our oldest, he really, you know, he will just unrelenting crying. You know, when he's not getting, when things are confusing him, or when he's getting really, really, you know, overwhelmed. And when that happens in his routine, it's just an absolute nightmare.
You need to make it as predictable as possible, just kind of know what's going on. It is that whole kind of anxiety side of things. It's funny, kind of jumping back to what the thing you said about how ordering dessert first, and there's these kind of predefined rules in your head, like you can't do that, and that's like, in the morning, Ash will come downstairs and he'd be like, you want a pint of crisps? Like, you can't have crisps for breakfast. And then eventually, after a while, you're like, well, why not? Like, he needs something to eat, sort of thing. So half the time I'll be making his breakfast and he needs something to tide him over until I've finished making his breakfast, sort of thing. And it's so hard to kind of retrain your brain to be like, oh no, they shouldn't have this until this time, and this shouldn't happen until then, and this is what our breakfast meal should look like, this is what a dinner should look like. And it's that way of like, it doesn't have to make sense to everyone, it just has to make sense to them and their situation.
I think societal expectations go completely out the window with a child with additional support needs. Not in a bad way, but you can't physically put in things that we were taught when we were younger into our child's lives, because it just doesn't make sense to them. You know, like, I was very much taught that if I didn't finish my dinner, I wouldn't get a snack. You know, and I believed that for so long, you know, up until I was obviously an adult. But then, you know, when my partner spoke about it and went, well, that's not training, you know, our children about when they're full.
Very true.
And I was like, well, yeah, because then in my head, I'm like, you're forcing them to eat beyond their means so that they can get an extra snack. I'm like, well, that's not helping anybody.
You need to, it's crazy, isn't it? Until you need to analyse everything, like everything you know, everything that's going on. You need to just totally think about it and go in with a complete clear mind.
Yeah, you need to reevaluate everything that you do. And sometimes when we're talking about this, it sounds very, it doesn't sound positive. But one thing I will say is reevaluating everything, it really does give you almost a glimpse through their eyes, and it gives you a bit of a a second wind almost, because you sit there and go, right, well, everything that I knew was applicable to my progression, and now I'm learning completely from scratch alongside him or her.
You can improve you as a person as well, because you're not thinking.
And I think it makes me a better person, because when I see children who have additional support needs out and about who are struggling, I feel confident enough to be like, listen, it's okay. Yeah. Everything's all right. Or, and it gives me a bit of confidence, when sometimes I can struggle for confidence, it gives me that, I'm doing the best I can. I'm putting all of these things in place. It might not always work 100% of the time, but we're doing the best we can with our kids.
And that's all you can do, and it's that way and I think as well around other parents, it's that whole thing of like, you don't judge them, because you know that, I know for myself, from a kind of anxiety point of view, I'm always very anxious in terms of like, what are these other parents thinking? And that's when I think for me, like, being able to go to different like ASN sessions where it is just your community, you can just relax a lot more, knowing that every other parents, whether Ashton runs up to them, he's not going to get looked down on, they're going to treat him the same sort of way, and it's just that way that you can switch off a bit, you can relax knowing that he's with people that gets him, sort of thing, which is massive when you find that out as well, because at first when you're trying to navigate it kind of post-diagnosis, again, you're trying to get them to fit into a lot of the time a world that isn't suited for them. So when you find this community, you find your place you can go, and again go into in terms of when you stick to their routines and make things as easy as possible for them. I mean, for me, Ashton is an absolute joy to just be involved with, sort of thing. Like, he's always laughing, sort of thing, and he's just, I mean, don't get me wrong, meltdowns are difficult, that sort of thing. There is always the kind of difficult side and downside of that, but in terms of just getting him in a position where he is happy and wanting to play with his toys and wanting to involve me, whether it is something that's very repetitive, but just to see him smile and laugh, it just makes it all worth it, definitely, I'd say, for myself from that experience and that point of view. Yeah,
I mean, it's very much, when we talk about additional support needs, it very much is, it does what it says in the tin, it's very much, it's your child, they just require a little additional support.
Yeah, definitely.
And it can be a lot of additional support, can be a little additional support, doesn't matter. It gets them what they need in order to, exist and do the things that they like to do, and obviously every parent has different goals with how your child is going to progress. But I feel, especially post-diagnosis, I think you kind of look at them in a whole new light of whatever you're going to do, you're going to do.
Yep.
And I think that expectation of, oh, you're going to do this, or you're going to work here, or you're going to do that, I think you kind of take a step back from that and go, well, he'll tell me what he's wanting to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or she'll tell me what she's wanting to do.
Yeah, you go at their pace and you work with them in terms of, like, that's what I find with Ashton. You try and get involved in their special interests, no matter what it is, and try and use that to help them and be involved, and not try and push them into things that they aren't comfortable with. And yeah, that's the thing. I'm massively proud of how Ashton's been and how massive he's coming along, and it's that way of, like, you just wish that you could talk to yourself. I know you're saying that you're still on the kind of diagnostic journey with your youngest, but it's that way of, you just wish you could kind of speak to yourself when Ashton first got diagnosed, just to say that, yeah, it's a difficult ride, but it's also a very rewarding one as well at the same time, and we're going to get through it.
I think it certainly makes you the man you are, and I know everybody in the ASN Dad Chat is, you know, providing for their kids and doing the best job that they can.
Yeah.
You know, and I think everybody in that, you know, everybody should be proud of that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when you look at, you know, I think that, like you were saying about the diagnosis, it can be really hard to get your head out of that, because, but at the end of the day, you got to look at it like you were saying, and, you know, this is your child, you know, and it doesn't change that they are your child, and that you're going to move heaven and earth to get them exactly what they deserve.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, like, talking about, you know, having a routine, having places for them to go, you know, having a structure. You know, I know we were talking earlier about the structure of this podcast, you know, and
a lack of structure.
and I think there's certain areas in life where your structure, you're like, okay, well, if it happens, it happens. When it comes to our kids, you know, you try and stick with it as much as you can.
Yeah.
And you have to have a whole new level of patience, because it won't always work out. But I think there's nothing more, in my opinion, there's nothing more rewarding, because there are challenging moments. Yeah, there's times where your child is screaming at you over something so small that you almost want to be like, come on, is it really that serious? But see, when they have these moments where they, you know, they do something positive, you turn around and you go, you know, I contributed to that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's something you need to take small victories, and, you know, it can be something so simple. You know, I know, was it my oldest, yesterday he picked up his plate and put it in the sink without us asking. And I was like, honestly, I'd celebrate that more than, you know, a graduation at this point.
Yeah,
you know, because
small victories are,
it's just, it keeps you going. You know, and like you were saying, we're preparing them for a world not prepared at the moment. You know, and that's what we're making good strides in that. But by doing this podcast, by having the ASN Dad Chat, by working with ASN communities or other communities, I know you were talking about the community that you're a part of.
Yeah, with the Fragile X Society.
Yeah, the Fragile X. By tuning in with all of these communities, you're building a better future. Yeah. You know, you're taking that step, you know, and it can be, I like to think about it as like a domino. You're knocking over that first domino. And I would advise any dads out there who are listening to this podcast, like, knock over that first domino. You know, get in contact, whether it's just a chat. You know, you can chat over WhatsApp, you can come for a blether, and as you can hear, I can talk for Scotland, so I'll gladly spend a good portion of my time speaking to you.
It's harder to get us to stop talking half the time, but it's for all of these guys, we're all our specialist subject, our ASN kids, so yeah, we're more than happy to chat. Yeah, but the help is here, you know, and you don't have to, I know we say it all the time, is you don't have to go through it alone. Yeah. You know, there's lots of things you won't understand, there's lots of things that will keep you up at night, but we're in the same boat. We've either been there or we will be there, you know. Definitely. You think that's the thing, you think you're kind of in that boat, and well, we can't obviously fix everything, make that better. We can give you an extra oar, make things a bit easier to put in. That's a nice way to put it. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, for sure, because, you know, there's going to be a lot of things you have to, you know, face when it comes to children with additional support needs. You know, you're going to have a lot of health professionals involved. We've talked about medical opinions. Yeah. We don't contribute medical opinions, just our own. But there's going to, you know, there's times where, you know, you're going to have, you know, a really productive meeting for your child. There's going to be times where you come out with more questions than answers. Yep. You know, that's going to be the same with education. You know, it's going to be the same with anywhere you go. You know, you're going to think so differently compared to other parents. You know, you go to a soft play, the first thing I'm thinking about is where's the exits. How can you know, my oldest, how can he figure out a way? Is he going to try and steal snacks? I know we went to a soft play where the snacks were all open, and my oldest ran up a tab, and
yeah, I basically ended up just telling the guy behind. I was just like, "Tell me how much it is at the end, and I'll pay it." Because trying to run after him and then stop him, it was just a nightmare. And it was it was like an enclosed place. I'm knocking the mic out in a way there. It was like a very enclosed space.
Yep.
So, but it was like a big jungle gym. So he would run in and he would hop, climb up, and I'm a big guy. I'm not making it up. Yeah, not a chance. So, you know, it's one of those that there's lots of things you'll face, and sometimes you need a few wee pointers or a wee bit of advice.
Yeah, and there's plenty of advice, and it's that way again. There's no silly questions. Everyone's going through some sort of similar complex journey that you can ask a question that if it can't be answered, they can certainly help you find an answer for it. Again, just to echo what Sam says, don't think you have to go through all of this alone. We're here, we're happy to help. Definitely like use us any way you can, in terms of if you want to try and just come for a meetup, you want to come for a chat, you just want some ideas, because as Sam said, there is going to be a lot of different stages you'll go through in terms of speaking to different professionals, try and find places that you're comfortable taking your kids, trying to get a good understanding of what they're going through, and maybe it could be speaking to some of the members of the group that have maybe got children who are adults now, and trying to look a bit more to the future, because there's obviously so many different stages of life. So there's definitely a plethora of knowledge there that we're happy to share, and it's that way as well. Of we're always looking for more members in the chat, and there's not any reason why you can't come and contribute, and you're the one that's coming to help us in the next stage of things. And definitely, as I said, just take that next step, or as Sam put it, knock down that first domino.
Yeah. Not to sound poetic. No, I think from what you were saying, absolutely spot on. Taking that step, it can be one of the biggest steps in life, you know. But it's the same with anything. You just need to take that first step. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I think we've covered a good amount.
Yeah, I think we've covered a good amount there. Again, we're looking for feedback in terms of anything that anyone would want us to talk about. Otherwise, we'll just start, obviously, going through different topics where we can. Again, things like travel, different difficulties or different situations that we've all been in. But yeah,
feel free to suggest any as well on social media. I know I'm sure we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram. We'll make sure that's all plugged.
Yes, we'll do plenty of that.
But feel free to message away.
Definitely. So again, glad you're here. You're not alone, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you want to get involved or get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook or Instagram under ASN Dad Chat.